Imagine a person living their most vibrant, successful life, yet you'd never know it from their social media feed. They travel to breathtaking locations, close major business deals, and build deep relationships, but their profile looks like a ghost town. The last photo was uploaded 3 years ago, and their bio is a single cryptic sentence. In an era where a personal brand is considered the new global currency and digital presence is equated with existence itself, these people feel like a glitch in the matrix. Some call them boring, others think they are hiding something, but many secretly envy their freedom. Today, we are breaking down the phenomenon of quiet power. We are diving into the psychology of those who consciously choose digital invisibility and why an empty profile is often the ultimate flex of internal stability and high social intelligence. For over a decade, social media has been hacking a very specific part of the human brain, our primal need for social validation. In early human history, being cast out of the tribe meant certain death, so we are hardwired to care about what others think. Today, a like, a share, or a fire emoji is the digital equivalent of that tribal acceptance. Every time a notification pops up, the brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward and habit. We get stuck in a loop where every post is a subconscious plea for a hit of validation. However, the people who don't post have broken that cycle. Psychologists note that digital silence is often linked to a high internal locus of control. This means their sense of self-worth comes from their own achievements and values, not from the feedback of an online audience. They don't need 100 strangers to double-tap their dinner to know it tasted good. The experience itself is the reward. This leads us to a deeper understanding of what happens to the human psyche when we remove the constant need for broadcasting. When you are not posting, you are not performing. Performance anxiety is a silent epidemic in modern society. We are constantly curate our lives for an invisible audience. This creates a split personality, the real you and the digital you. Maintaining this digital avatar requires an immense amount of mental bandwidth. It is like running a heavy background application on your smartphone that drains the battery twice as fast. Those who choose digital silence are essentially closing that app. They have more energy for their real-world tasks because they aren't constantly checking to see how their digital self is being perceived. This reclaimed energy is often what allows them to reach higher levels of success in their careers and personal lives. One of the biggest reasons for this silence in the American landscape is the protection of cognitive energy. In a hyper-competitive society, focus is a superpower. Every time you stop to frame a photo for the perfect aesthetic, you exit the flow state. You stop being a participant in your life and become a director of a show. Research shows that the act of documenting an event for social media actually impairs your ability to remember the details of that event. The people of quiet power choose to live at 100%. For them, the value of a California sunset is in the seeing, not the showing. This is a deliberate trade, choosing quality of life over quality of content. Furthermore, we must address the concept of digital Stoicism. The ancient Stoics believed that we should focus only on what we can control. Your reputation in the digital world is something you can influence, but never fully control. You can post the most perfect photo, and someone will still find a reason to criticize it. The algorithm might bury it, or a stranger might leave a hateful comment. People with quiet power have embraced the idea that their reputation is better built through direct action than through digital storytelling. They understand that a high-quality life is lived, not told. By opting out of the feed, they are focusing their efforts on their character rather than their image. In the long run, character always outlasts image. There is also a strategic element involving information hygiene and privacy. In a world where data is the new oil, silence is a form of leverage. The less people know about your private life, the less they can use against you in a professional or social setting. People who keep their business off the grid often maintain an aura of mystery that works in their favor during negotiations or new introductions. It is not about having something negative to hide. It is about valuing the sanctity of the private sphere. They understand that true connection is built in encrypted conversations and across dinner tables, not in public broadcasts. For them, happiness is a private garden, protected from the noise of social comparison and uninvited opinions. Let's talk about social comparison, which is one of the most toxic habits of the modern age. In the United States, we are constantly told to keep up with the Joneses, but now the Joneses are influencers with filtered faces and rented private jets. We compare our messy behind-the-scenes reality with everyone else's highlight reel. Those who don't post have effectively opted out of the race. They don't feel the need to prove their life is better than a former classmate's or a rival colleague's. Removing the burden of maintaining a perfect digital facade lowers cortisol levels significantly. It allows them to redirect that mental bandwidth toward actual growth. Instead of spending 2 hours editing a reel, they spend that time building a side hustle, hitting the gym, or masterminding their next move. Over the long term, this gives them a massive edge in cognitive performance and emotional resilience. This brings us to the phenomenon of the dark social. Most meaningful human connection actually happens in the dark, meaning in places that algorithms cannot track. Private messages, face-to-face meetings, and small group chats are where the real substance of life is found. People of quiet power invest heavily in these areas. They might not have 10,000 followers, but they have 10 people they can call at 3 in the morning who will actually show up. This depth of connection is often sacrificed when we chase the breadth of online followers. The psychological security that comes from having a tight private circle is far superior to the fragile ego boost of digital fame. From a professional standpoint, this is even more fascinating. Many of the most successful tech founders, top-tier surgeons, and high-level engineers in Silicon Valley and across the country are moving toward digital minimalism. They operate on the principle of deep work. To create something truly valuable and complex, you need total immersion. Constant distraction and the maintenance of a digital persona dilute that focus. Those who are silent online are often doing the loudest work in reality. Their reputation isn't built on hashtags, it is built on a track record of results that travels through high-value networks. In an age of deep fakes and bought followers, this old-school approach to social interaction is becoming a hallmark of authenticity and elite status. We also have to address the fear of missing out, or FOMO. Most people check their feeds every 10 minutes because they are terrified of being left out of a trend or a conversation. The people of quiet power have replaced FOMO with JOMO, the joy of missing out. They find peace in not knowing what happened at a party they didn't attend or what the latest viral outrage is about. This creates mental clarity. When you turn off the white noise of the internet, you can finally hear your own thoughts. This silence is where the most creative ideas are born and where the most important life decisions are made. Imagine the mental space you would gain if you stopped consuming the opinions of 10,000 people you don't even like. Another critical factor is the concept of scarcity. In economics, value is determined by scarcity. If you are always available, always posting, and always visible, your perceived value can actually decrease. You become common. However, when you are rarely seen and your life is not a public record, your presence becomes an event. When you do choose to speak or show up, people listen more intently because they haven't been desensitized to your voice. This is a form of social supply and demand. By limiting the supply of information about themselves, these individuals increase the demand and value of their actual presence. Now, some might argue that social media is necessary to stay connected. While that is true, those who don't post publicly usually double down on direct communication. They will text a photo directly to a parent or a close friend instead of broadcasting it to 500 acquaintances. This makes the interaction personal and meaningful. Receiving a personal message with a photo is far more impactful than seeing that same photo buried in a crowded feed. It shows that the person was thinking specifically about you rather than just fishing for general attention. This builds a foundation of trust and loyalty that public posting can never achieve. There is also a profound psychological immunity to criticism here. The moment you post something, you invite judgment. Even if you claim not to care, the human brain tracks negative comments and the lack of engagement. Those who stay offline are shielded from this. Their self-esteem doesn't fluctuate based on an algorithm's mood or the whims of followers. This makes them much more stable in a crisis. They rely on an internal compass, not the external crutch of likes and comments. They are not looking for a mirror in the eyes of strangers to tell them who they are. They already know. Often, digital silence is a sign of extreme self-sufficiency. These people aren't afraid of being alone with their thoughts. They don't need to fill every gap in their day with a scroll or a post. They are comfortable in the quiet. In modern psychology, the ability to tolerate boredom and lack of external stimulation is a key indicator of mental health. It shows that their inner world is rich, organized, and sufficient. They have developed the art of solitude, which is vastly different from being lonely. Solitude is a state of being alone without being lonely, a place of power and self-reflection. Think about the long-term legacy of a life lived off-screen. When we spend our lives documenting everything, we often forget to actually build things that last. The people who are not posting are often the ones building the companies, the families, and the communities that define our future. They are focused on legacy over likes. They understand that at the end of their lives, the number of followers they had won't matter, but the quality of the lives they touched and the work they produced will. They are playing the long game while everyone else is distracted by the 24-hour news cycle and the latest viral trend. There is a deeper cultural shift happening here too. Choosing not to post is a quiet rebellion against the culture of narcissism. We live in a society that rewards shouting, but true wisdom usually whispers. Quiet power is when your actions speak so loudly that your profile doesn't have to. It is when your presence in a room is felt more than your presence on a screen. These individuals understand that life is not a performance for an audience. It is a personal journey where the most important moments happen when the camera is off. They are the masters of their own attention, which is the most valuable resource in the 21st century. Furthermore, we should look at the impact on mental health. Numerous studies have linked high social media usage to increased rates of depression, anxiety, and feelings of inadequacy. By stepping away from the platform, these individuals are engaging in a form of radical self-care. They are protecting their peace of mind from the predatory algorithms designed to keep them angry or addicted. This mental freedom allows for a level of creativity and problem-solving that is simply not possible when your brain is constantly being bombarded by micro-stimuli. If you feel exhausted by the pressure to constantly be on and sharing your life, remember that you have the right to be digitally invisible. It doesn't make your life less significant. On the contrary, it might be the start of your most productive and peaceful chapter yet. Imagine waking up and not checking who liked your photo from last night. Imagine having a breakthrough at work and not feeling the urge to announce it to the world. Imagine going on a date and never taking your phone out of your pocket. This is not just a lifestyle choice, it is a path to regaining your humanity in a digital age. Try an experiment. Go 30 days without posting a single thing. Notice how your perception of reality shifts, how your focus improves, and how much time you reclaim for the things that actually move the needle. You will likely find that the people who truly care about you are still there, and the ones who only followed you for the highlights were never really there at all. You will find that your experiences feel more vivid because you are fully present for them. The people who never post aren't necessarily hiding a secret. They've just found something more valuable than the attention of strangers. They've found themselves and a depth of life that doesn't fit into a square crop or a 60-second clip. In a world where everyone is screaming for a moment in the spotlight, their silence is the ultimate statement. That is true quiet power. It doesn't need proof, it doesn't seek applause, and it isn't afraid of being forgotten. It just is, filling life with a meaning that needs no filter and no caption. As we look toward the future, the ability to remain private and focused will likely become one of the most sought-after traits. In a sea of noise, the one who can remain silent and observant holds the most information. In a world of oversharing, the one who keeps their cards close to their chest holds the most power. This is the quiet revolution. It is not about being anti-tech, but about being pro-human. It is about using tools without letting them use you. It is about reclaiming the narrative of your own life and deciding that some parts of your story are just too good to be shared with everyone. Thank you for exploring this shift in human behavior with us. If you found value in this breakdown of the quiet power mindset, make sure to look at your own digital habits this week. Ask yourself if you are posting because you want to share joy or because you are seeking a temporary hit of validation. Be honest with your answer. But reclaiming your time from the digital world is only the first step. Once you have your attention back, the next challenge is knowing how to use it effectively without burning out. In our next video, we are going to look at the other side of the coin. We will show you how to trick your brain into working by using a powerful 60-second Japanese technique called Kaizen. We will see you in the next one.